All right, everybody, you are in for a super, super treat. I know Marissa and I have talked a lot about some upcoming guests that we were going to have on that you are going to love. And today is one of them. And I'm so excited to have Lisa Acker join me on the Strong and Simple podcast today. I actually met Lisa at a networking event a few months ago. And Marissa is super bummed that she can't be here today. So that just means we're probably going to have to do a part two so that Marissa can join us for this amazing conversation in the future. So, little preface, Lisa is a love, sex, and dating coach who has worked as a matchmaker for several years and coached hundreds of clients on their love lives and on meeting the right person. In her coaching practice, she helps and empowers women in every aspect of loving themselves, creating an amazing relationship with themselves and their partners, whether you are single or in a relationship, and meeting the high value partner of your dreams. Lisa creates a warm, loving space for her clients to be honest and authentic so that they can truly heal themselves and love themselves for who they are on the inside, as that is what Lisa truly believes reflects outer beauty. So I'm so excited to dig into several meaty topics this evening with Lisa about love, about sex, about dating, about being a matchmaker. But first, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa to introduce herself. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's such a pleasure to be here. So just as a quick introduction to myself, as Michelle stated, I was a former matchmaker working for a different company. I did coach hundreds of clients, both men and female, and now have just branched off into my own business just to work with ladies solely and directly. I really just want to empower women in their own individual beauty, help them with their worth so they really can attract the right partner and call in that partner, the man of the dreams, that high value man that we all want to meet, or high value partner that we all want to meet, but are not maybe quite sure how to do that. And so I take a lot of pride in making sure that everybody feels welcomed. It's a very non-judgmental, open, and warm space for my clients. I really want to make sure that everybody in this world feels loved for who they are in the most authentic way possible. And I pride myself in helping clients achieve that. Now, whether you are single, in a relationship, or in a marriage, I work with all clients of all realms to help them create the best relationship with their partner as possible. And also to help, as Michelle was stating, help heal yourself, because really until you heal what's on the inside, you cannot attract the right person on the outside. So I'm just so excited to be here joining Michelle on this wonderful podcast, and just very excited to be able to help all ladies in their relationships, or if you're single, and give some really great information. Hope it helps you attract that partner that you're looking for.
Oh, amazing. I think the work that you do is really important because, like you said, being able to heal ourselves on the inside and recognize and really love ourselves is then what helps, kind of radiate that energy out, right? Being almost like who we want to attract, or putting that energy out. Could you tell me a little bit about how you got interested in matchmaking? Like, how did this become a career for you? How did this become your calling?
So this is the most random story that you will probably ever hear. But when I was sort of in a career that I wasn't fully happy with, I had worked for this other company. Again, I'm working solely for myself at this point, but I worked for this other company, and it was a very short visit just because the person I was supposed to replace actually ended up staying. Okay. But I realized I was really happy with that company and happy in that space. So I just did a little bit of intuitive, internal questioning to say, where was I happiest? Because I was really searching for a career that felt authentic and wonderful to me. And so how I started, as a matchmaker was I asked myself the question on where was I happiest, then reached out to this particular company. All the same people that I worked with prior were still there. And at the time, they didn't actually have the type of position that I was looking for. So I just
Okay.
assumed that was a sign. I don't believe there's any coincidences.
It's true.
And so, about 2 weeks later, I get a call from the regional manager, and they have a position open that's more aligned for me. And then I just started working with this national company and traveling all over and helping people find the love of their lives.
That is amazing. What are some of the things that you do to help folks find the love of their lives? So, and I know every case, every person you've worked with, every situation is individualized and unique, right? But what are some of the, if somebody was going to set up a time to work with you or have you set them up or be a matchmaker, right? What would a session with you look like?
So I want to really clarify. I actually kind of moved more into the love, sex, and dating coach.
Okay.
I stepped away from matchmaking just because it didn't feel like aligned for me. And I'll explain a little bit why. When I was working as a matchmaker, while it gave me some really great experience, I worked with hundreds of clients to help them find their partner. What I felt was missing was that we weren't working on the actual problem. We were trying to have a list of qualities that, clients would come in and it was very specific about what they were looking for, but they hadn't healed themselves or they hadn't gotten to the root of the cause of what was going on internally. And so in turn, some clients would end up very successful. There were definitely a lot of clients that got matched, but then on the flip side of it, the clients that weren't healed or just looking for a list, I wish I had a build a partner workshop in my backyard, but I don't. The clients that were just looking for this list of qualities, they weren't as successful. And for me, my main goal is to help people, to serve them. And I can't help and serve someone who hasn't healed themselves, who hasn't recognized that their childhood patterns and have really defined and made them who they are in their relationships, who hasn't understood what their attachment pattern looks like and how that gets reflected outwards. So I really work with my clients to go back to their childhood, look at their attachment patterns, look at what their dynamic between their parents, what they saw growing up, because those are usually the dynamics that they attract in their partners. Until they heal those, it's really hard to call in the right partner for you at that time. And then what ends up happening is you really attract the same person in a different shell. And, people wonder why I'm like, they keep attracting a similar person, but that's why they haven't healed themselves. And people want to believe like, oh, I attract what I want. No, you attract what you are. So wherever you are in your life is what you're going to attract.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. So, because I wasn't really sure what the difference would be between matchmaking and the actual coaching. And that makes so much sense, is that being matched is essentially like, I'm looking for XYZ, and then a matchmaker would then find somebody who had those qualities. Is that correct? Okay. But you are working with your folks to really dig in, to do the inner healing, to kind of repair and to get to the root of what's happening and why they are looking for certain qualities, or why they're looking for qualities and maybe not finding that the quality being bounced back to them.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yeah. And I love this analogy. I want you to think about matchmaking as putting a Band-Aid over a burn.
Okay. Not very effective.
Is that actually going to work to heal it? Probably not. I mean, if it does, that's a miracle.
Yeah, right.
But, I want to get to the root of the problem and the heart of the problem.
I love that. I think that that's a lot of the work that I try to do as a fitness and nutrition coach is, like it's more than just here's a workout, here's, and I don't do meal plans, but it's why are you repeating patterns with your relationship with food and fitness and your body? Why do you kind of keep having to have that same cycle over and over and over again? And it's usually there's something deeper happening. And I'm not a therapist, so I'm not going to say that like I'm doing therapy with folks, but having people just being able to look at like, this is where these patterns started. This is how this pattern actually makes me feel. And I'm ready to try something on the other side. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm really interested in digging in with you is what dating for folks in their 30s and beyond, even especially we have a lot of women who listen who are in their 40s, who are recently divorced or are, entering a new stage of their lives. And it's kind of like they're getting their feet wet, dipping their toes in with exploring dating. Do you want to kind of give a look into what that looks like out there in the dating world?
So, I understand it can be kind of scary. When you're in a relationship or with your partner for years, you get used to being really comfortable with that one person. And then all of a sudden, that person isn't in your life. And if you're depending on how much you're dating, or if you're going even on just first dates, meeting a new person and having a conversation, it can come natural for some people, but most of us, it does not. Right.
Yeah, right.
And so I recommend just a few little tips I recommend for people that are like newly single. One, relax. Just get into feel whatever helps you relax. Like I'm more of a music person. So before I'm getting ready to go on a date, I'll, turn on some music and just kind of really get into the groove. Two, if you're the type of person that is a little bit more nervous or may have trouble coming up with questions, like have some questions prepped and ready in your head that you can ask them to build attraction and emotional connection. Now, granted, that first date, you're just getting to know each other. You're there. Go in with the mindset of you're just there to have some fun. See if it's a fit, make sure, it's the right fit for you. Is just as much as he's choosing you, you are choosing him, or you're choosing them, your partner, whatever that looks like for you. And realize like they're probably just as nervous as you are.
Right.
And I think sometimes we forget that, like, we're humans. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to have those jitters. That's normal. And it's even if it feels comfortable for you, it's okay to say, I'm a little nervous, and whatever will help you relax throughout the course of the date. Now, I don't recommend, having, more than 2 to 3 glasses of wine or whatever you like to drink max on first date. But if a 1 glass of wine or whatever you'd like to drink is helpful, then have that glass of wine just to loosen those nerves, get into the moment. Notice the things around you too. That whatever the partner has set up for you for the date, if you're in an environment type of person, and that person has picked out an environment that you would never go to, just pay attention to that. Now, granted, they don't know you. If you point it out to them and be like, oh, this isn't a place I'd normally pick, and kind of explain what you like, and then you go on a second date and they do the same thing, I'm not saying that's a full-on red flag, but it's not a good thing. Let's put it that way. Pay attention to those little things, because ultimately, in order to attract the right partner, you can't ignore the little things in the beginning that are going to show you if this person is the right partner for you in the future.
Yeah, that's really important. That somebody on the first date or the second date, listening to what you have to say and then actually paying attention to that and following through. Where do you even find people to date nowadays? So I've been married for 13 years. So I've been out of the dating game for a long time. And when I started or when I like started dating my husband, like things like Match.com and like Yahoo Dating and things like that were just kind of popping up. But most people met people out at the bar or through friends. Where are folks meeting quality partners these days?
So, you can still meet people through friends. You can still meet people out, either networking meetings or even just out at a restaurant or bar. Those are still methods that people use. Now, granted, majority of people are meeting people online.
Okay.
I know it can seem uncomfortable. As a dating coach, I'm an expert on navigating online and being able to show my clients how to figure out if the person that they are talking to is high value, high quality, and to also navigate some of those red flags really quickly.
Okay.
So they don't have to go through 2, 3, 4 dates with someone that was demonstrating red flags on their profile or through the conversation that they were having.
Okay.
So I know it's not always the most comfortable thing to be online where, we're being vulnerable. And as women, we have to protect ourselves always, obviously. But with that being said, you can turn that experience into a beautiful, warm experience if you, I don't want to say attack, but I don't know if that's the first word that came to my mind. If you approach it the right way. And if you approach it from a very positive, warm, loving space and come out with a positive profile, I recommend when you're trying to attract a partner, don't put what you don't want on your profile. A lot of us do that.
Okay.
It is a turnoff because what it says is this is what I've been through and this is what I'm trying to avoid. It already tells your partner, I've experienced this and I don't like it.
Okay.
Come from a place of, hey, I am, this is what I like. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is who I am. Whatever qualities reflect them best. And, for you, I want you to come from that space of doing that. Now, as far as photos online, I recommend having a couple professional shots, depending on whether you're, in the LGBT community or if you are, heterosexual, wherever you're coming from. Now, if you're in the heterosexual community, obviously men are visual. It's an unfortunate truth. And I don't like saying it because ladies, I see beauty from the inside. But in order to first attract that in, especially like with a man, your profile has to be representative of someone that he even wants to, put his think about walking through a door. He doesn't even want to walk through the door if your profile pics don't actively reflect that. Now, just in general with your pictures, be authentic. Be whoever you are, but also understand, don't put a lot of pictures with you and your friends.
Okay.
Nobody wants to play the who am I? Who am I actually?
Who am I talking to? Right.
I want to play the guessing game. Make sure you have a full body shot in there.
Okay.
Head on. Again, the heterosexual community, men, it's a red flag if you don't.
Okay.
If you are coming from an angle, men get burned. I've seen this before because, when I've been on dates, they've asked me. I even had a guy make me take a video of myself to prove that I was. I mean, that was a red flag for me, but
right. Yeah.
But just so you know, because there are women online that are misrepresenting themselves, if you don't have that full body shot of yourself kind of head on, either you're going to attract someone that you get on the date and it's just not going to work. So you're wasting both of your time, or you're going to also attract someone who is it's just not going to be in your most authentic self. Own your beauty,
Right.
Own the features that are your best features. Like, we as women don't always love every single feature about ourselves, but the more that you love the features that you don't like about yourself, the more that you're going to draw in an authentic person that accepts those things for you. And that includes with your body. That includes body confidence for
Mm.
however you are, however you look. A lot of women, especially in your 30s and 40s, have had children. And, that's going to leave you in a different state than when you had the child. But look at what the outcome was.
Mm-hmm.
Most
Yep.
beautiful thing that you can ever do for yourself in your life.
Right.
And so, own that. Love that about yourself. Because trust me, a man that sees your beauty or a partner that sees your beauty, they are going to they're going to be like, I'm so excited that I even get the pleasure of being in this person's presence.
Yeah.
And it's because you love yourself within first, not looking outward for affirmation or, attention, or seeking that in the wrong department. That's not to say that if there's something that you don't like about yourself, if you want to fix it, I'm all for loving yourself as is, but also fixing whatever you want to fix. But don't focus on that.
Right.
Don't make that the center. Make the center, who are you on the inside, so you can attract a beautiful person that is also a beautiful person on the inside.
I think that, there's a couple of things in here, but first of all, I think that there's a lot of catfishing, right? So
Yeah.
where you have, where there's definitely like a spectrum of that, where there was like a whole show on like MTV or something a
Yes.
few years ago about catfishing, right? Like where people were having these like year-long relationships with people that they had never really seen before. And then it turned out that they weren't anybody who they thought that they were talking to, so I can see where that the importance of like, I want to see who I'm talking to. And for some people that might be coming from like a really shallow point of view, right? Like I want to find somebody who looks like Barbie, or I want to find somebody who, I'm only looking for these physical characteristics, right? But it could also be like I want, like you said, I want to see who I'm talking to so I can feel that energy through their photographs to know if this is somebody who feels good about themselves to be who they are, right? So,
Well, and I want to mention something about that. So if someone lies about something on their profile, be it age or how they look, you are starting something off on at the very least, a misrepresentation. But in most cases, that's a lie. That's a reflection of your character. Does anyone want to date someone that can't even tell them the correct age
right,
that they
right,
are, right? Or can't show them a photo that's recent?
right.
Like, don't expect someone to accept you for who you are if you're not being honest. I
Right.
know personally, I would never date somebody that was dishonest with me. And so if you're doing that on your profile, which hopefully you're not,
Right.
if you're doing that, then don't get mad when somebody is like, this is not going to work and I'm not interested in seeing you again, because you've misrepresented yourself, which is really just a form of a lie.
Yeah. And I know that there's so much pressure to like look a certain way. And I'm sure that, that pressure to look a certain way and be a certain way and to be a certain age. And especially if you are somebody who's 30 or 40 or 50 entering the dating scene, either you're still in the dating scene or you're re-entering, that pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way in order to attract somebody. But finding that like understanding that, like you said, Lisa, to put a picture of yourself up there that's 20 years old or, from a certain angle or whatever, that's not necessarily accurate, is not necessarily, you might get more attention from people, right? From certain folks who think they're looking for a certain look, right? Or a certain age, but you're going to show up to that date and you're both going to be like, well, what's happening here?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I've seen that happen, or I've heard that that has happened quite a bit, and more, just in my own dating experiences. And again, that's not, some people are polite, and I give them credit for having grace. Um, but there's some people that are not polite, and believe it or not, it's even happened to me.
Oh, no.
So I had a person literally go to the bathroom and then made some sort of work excuse without even
Oh,
so much as
no.
saying, I think they didn't I'm really short. I don't think that they realized I was really that
Oh,
short.
no.
So, but regardless, like, understand that every single person has a type. And first and foremost, okay, you want to have physical compatibility, mental and emotional compatibility. But first and foremost, people have to be attracted. In
Right.
order to have that, you have to have chemistry and compatibility. And so if somebody's not physically attracted to you, forget trying to get into the front, that front door. You're not going to get through that front door at all. You're going to be stuck in the doorway.
Right.
Just another
Right.
analogy. Stuck in the doorway, hoping that it goes somewhere that it's never going to go. So,
I mean, it's unfortunate that there's certain standards that people, that we have in society that people feel that we need to all be at a certain standard. But knowing that, like you were saying, the more confident we can feel in ourselves, the more confident we can feel about being our authentic selves and putting that out there, you're more likely to find somebody. It might take a little longer, but you're more likely to find somebody than to put yourself in a situation where you might end up on a first date with somebody who's not so nice, or where it's going to be a dead end for both of you, right? Because do you really want to be with somebody who, when they see you in person, is like, that's not who they're looking for, right?
yeah, I mean, I love to get into the mindset of, like, actually thanking people for not choosing me.
Okay.
And I think people, they're like, oh, gosh, it's, why did that work out? But thank them, because what they're doing is allowing you to find the person that actually will appreciate you for who you are,
Yeah.
versus trying to have someone appreciate you for, something that you're not, or trying to be something that you're not, to attract that partner within. And think that when the more you thank them, the more that you set those healthy standards and boundaries from the
Mm,
beginning of the relationship, the more the relationship can grow, the more that you become the queen. You're in your queen energy, and then you attract that right partner to you, because you're like, I am not going to just settle for this and that and the other. I want this, I expect this, I deserve this. And
awesome.
so it's very important. Yeah.
I love that. I deserve this. I deserve someone who's going to treat me well, who wants to be with me, who wants to love me, who's in this to win it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the energy we want. What are some of so you'd started talking about things that you might put on your profile, like the pictures that you would put on and like some tips for that. What are some other things that are really going to be like super highlights to have on your profile that are going to accentuate who you are?
So really, when you write your profile, like, describing yourself very accurately, like, and I may have said this, so I don't want to repeat myself, but more so like, if you're sincere, warm, I'm looking for, integrity, honesty, doing something kind of fun too. Like,
Mm.
okay, maybe you put a question on there that allows them to be able to open, like when they say hello to you, they have something to ask you,
Oh, that's a good idea.
because I've noticed a lot of people just in general don't know where to start the conversation. So you can't come into a conversation going, hi, how are you? You get what I'm doing?
Hey.
But you can't do that, because guess what? Where's that conversation going to go? It's not going to go anywhere. A lot of the stuff that I recommend doing, even when you start the conversation, and depending on what app you're on, because there are apps
Mm,
that women do have to initiate. And if that's who
okay.
you are, I recommend those apps. But always look at their profile and then have a question that you can ask them. Or if they don't give you anything to ask them, I recommend paying them a compliment.
Oh, good idea.
So like, something I always used, if there wasn't a question or something I could come up with to ask, I would just be like, hi there, nice pics, wink. At least you're opening up the conversation for them to say, thank you. I liked your pics as well. And then you can kind of go from there and have a list of questions, just general questions to build the conversation, to build emotional attraction. Some of these questions include like, what qualities are you looking for in a partner if they don't list that on their profile?
Okay. Yeah,
They
that's a good
list it on their
one.
profile, you may not want to ask that. If they talk about travel, where have you traveled to and what's on your bucket list? If they are talking about they love, soccer, sports, or football, what's your favorite team? And, like, do you love going to live events, watching on TV, whatever you see that you can actually relate to in their profile, you bring that into the conversation. And then, it allows them to open up about themselves and you to open up about yourself. Now, something I really want to point out to ladies, I get that we all want to feel comfortable and we want the timing to be right, but beware, timing is everything. So tips I want to give: 1, don't respond back too quickly. If you match with someone, do not respond to them right away. That says you're very eager.
Oh,
That takes away from your value.
okay.
I want you to be that high value woman so you can draw in that high value man.
Okay.
2, when you are responding back and forth, allow some space to be creative, but not too much space.
Okay.
Don't wait 3 days to respond to someone. I mean, I know
Right.
that sounds kind of obvious, but we get busy as people. But again, we teach men how to treat us. We teach our partner how to treat us.
Yeah.
And so you can't really draw in someone if there's so much space. There's a saying, and I hate to bring in sales, but they're saying in sales, time kills all. It's the same thing with dating. Time kills all. So if you let too much time go by, then you're going to, it's going to be hard to pull in that conversation. If you let too little time go by, then you're screaming, even though you're not. That doesn't mean you are. You're just excited, right? You're screaming that I have nothing better, much better going on. There is nothing more attractive than a woman who's attracting a high value partner who has her own busy life, her own things going on for herself, her own friends, her own fun, and everything else. And that is what draws in that high value partner, is having your own stuff, but being able to meet. So other things I want to suggest and recommend. So as far as when you're having these questions back and forth, set a time limit for yourself. Because there are plenty of people out there that there's a term called orbiters. I didn't come up with it. It's another dating coach that I've worked with. But it's orbiters. And what they are people that are either just looking for like affirmation or attention. They have no intention of moving the conversation or, moving anything forward with you. Okay. And because they're not trying to move anything forward with you, they will stay on there and talk to you back and forth for 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere with someone if that much time goes by, because think about what it really takes and involves to get something started. Once you've talked about everything via that you can talk about online, what do you talk about on the date? Like,
right.
It's going to be really hard to kind of draw that in. Now, if someone is coming across as a little bit more timid or shy, I recommend doing a little bit of a buy-in with them. And when I say that is like, if you're ready to move the conversation off to at least to, texting on the phone, you can say something very simple like, would you like to exchange numbers? you're not asking, can I have your phone number? Don't get into your masculine energy unless that's who you are. You're saying, would you like to exchange phone numbers? That way they have to say yes or no, or they won't respond if they don't want to. But then you know where you stand, and you don't have to waste any more time worrying about somebody that is truly not worth your time. Your time is important. It is valuable. And the more time that you spend accepting behavior that is not representative of the high value woman that you are, the more you tell the universe to send you more of that, or whatever you believe in. And I want all my ladies to attract a partner that truly wants to spend the time, money, and investment on them to show them that they are worth it in every way. And, a person that's not moving the conversation forward or doing that they're not in that energy. They may be timid, and that might be okay. But the other thing I want you to relax around too, and I want to mention, don't do this too quickly either.
Okay.
Don't get 3 days in, 4 days in, and, give them at least like a week. If they ask right away, that's great. That just means they're excited about you. That's fine. If you're comfortable. If you are not comfortable, honor that and tell them, listen, I need to talk to you just a little bit more to feel comfortable to exchange numbers.
Okay.
Like you set the standards and boundaries from the get-go, and it will either be the way that you set it up, or you'll be like, I'm uncomfortable, and then you won't respond. And then you might lose out on someone who's actually really interested in you. So just be really aware and present of those things. That being said, if you get into it too quickly, you've lowered your value from the get-go. Like you've literally said that I am okay. Like I'm so excited. Like, I just want to not waste we know that you don't want to waste your time, but guess how that feels reflected to that person? It doesn't scream worth, it actually screams low value.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that you're low value. What it means is that you are worthy, but it doesn't matter what you know to be true. It matters how you are perceived. Unfortunately, I found out perception is reality. And so I just want to be so clear on that, because you can turn someone off that's a very good fit for you if you do it too quickly, or or you haven't had conversation back and forth. That being said, respect your time. Your time is important.
Yeah.
If you're talking to someone and they're not moving the conversation forward, but you're thinking, okay, I want to see if this may work, then you just go, would you like to exchange phone numbers? If they don't respond, you've got your answer. Thank the universe, God, whatever you believe in. Thank them for not having that person, respond back, because honestly, they did you a favor. Someone better is coming in.
What's the average timeline for that? Or do you just kind of have to use your intuition for like what is moving too fast or not fast enough? And
there isn't really a proper timeline. It is a lot of intuition.
Okay.
I do really walk my clients through this, but like just as a general whole, if you want to generalize, just to kind of give, ladies some tips. With the conversation back and forth, on a general rule, wait a bare minimum of an hour to 3 hours when responding back.
Okay.
I would say no longer than 2 weeks of conversation back and forth before you say, would you like to exchange numbers, if they haven't moved the conversation forward.
Okay.
So those are just some really good general rules. Now, when you start talking to him or their partner, whatever that looks like for you, there's a couple of things you can do. I like to mirror their behavior. Okay. And so I think most people know what mirroring is, but if you don't, just a quick explanation. Like that, whatever that means is like, if they're responding back to you, they shoot you a text, you shoot them a text back, like right away. And then they shoot you another text back right away. You're good to go on the right away.
Okay.
If they're shooting you, if they shoot you a text and then you shoot them a text back right away and they don't respond for 2-3 hours, wait 2 or 3 hours to
Okay.
respond back. Because otherwise what you're doing is you're saying, I'm really available. Meanwhile, they're saying, I'm not.
Right. Right.
And, that also will turn off the right partner for you if they're in that energy and you're not. A high value woman always owns that she is going to come first, that
Okay.
she is not going to, sit there and drop, her friend. Like if she has plans with her friends, she's not going to drop, plans with her friends to go on a last minute date. She's not going to accept a last minute date unless she sets a healthy boundary or standard, or this person is just so busy and their schedules, this is really the only time they can meet. And then she's going to set a boundary and standard around that, saying, listen, like, moving forward, I expect that you will ask me out, at least a few days in advance. I get you're busy. I'm busy too, but that is my expectation moving forward. It's very easy if you set it up that way. So you get treated right. And then that person really values you and wants to value you, because you're not just accepting whatever the breadcrumbs, they call it breadcrumbs, and
Yes.
that they're giving you. No, I recommend never accepting breadcrumbs when you're when you're wanting the whole loaf of bread.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it's really important to set those boundaries from the get-go, right? Instead of, it's almost like if you put up something that's not super authentic in your dating profile, if you're just kind of going along with something because you think this is what that other person wants to make yourself more desirable for them, down the road, I imagine that then becomes problematic because it's not actually how you behave or how you want to behave or how you want to be treated. Right. But if you don't like demonstrate that or just say it out loud, how you want to be treated from the beginning, then you can't really blame the other person when they are like, what do you mean you're not cool to just go to the bar and shoot darts with the boys on Saturday night? Right. Wait, I thought you loved watching baseball. Right.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, I freaking hate watching baseball. But if you know what I mean?
It's true. And I mean, that being said, don't get into that energy of accepting less than you deserve just because, or not being in your authentic self because you're like, well, I like this person, they're attractive, because guess what? That's just going to hurt you later on when they find out, okay, well, I don't like this, or they see eventually your real self is going to come out. You can only hold a facade and an image for so long that is not reflective of who you are. And if you're looking for a long-term, relationship, partnership, whatever that looks like for you, then doing that is not going to be in your best interest, because guess what? You're going to sit there and think to yourself like, oh my gosh, now how do I get out of this and show them who I really am? You're not
Right.
going to be able, it's going to be, well, I don't want to say that you can't do it. You can always try, but it's going to be so much harder if you do it from that way, rather than just they show up how they want to show up. You show up how you want to show up, who you are. And then you see if it's a fit. If it's not a fit, guess what? There is someone out there that is the right fit for you. And the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is doing you a favor. And you're just be grateful for that. Like, don't get into don't get into this is the person
Right.
too quickly, because when you get in that energy, you are devaluing yourself and your worth. And I'm not necessarily telling you, depending on the person and how the person that you are seeing, if you think that they are seeing other people, then I recommend keeping your options open. If they are more of like the type of person that just sees one person but wants to take it slow, I don't recommend going out there and trying to keep exploring your options.
Right.
I recommend to focus on that, but not hyper focus.
Okay.
There's a difference. Don't go into thinking like this is the only person out there for me, and what you do is you go into, okay, let me see how things are going to work out. I'm going to show up how I am. They're going to show up how they are. And then we're going to see if it fits. And this is something that we can kind of move forward into. Now, something just very quickly to cover around intimacy and setting yourself up for success. A lot of women have been through different situations, be it trauma or other, different situations, and they may not always be comfortable to be intimate right from the get-go. And depending on who you're dating, the other person may want that right away. Now, keep in mind, you get to choose how you show up in this situation, and you get to set this boundary and standard very early on. And it is a wonderful boundary and standard to set up, because not only do you get to show your partner or this person that you're seeing that you're a high value woman, but you also get to see how they show up. And you get the gift of seeing if they're just in it for the intimacy, or if they actually are in it for the long haul and they want the challenge, they want to build that connection. They don't want to just rush into something with someone. So how I usually recommend setting that up is after you go on the first date and you have fun and you just are into it, you see, and you're going on your second date, you just say to that person, I just want to let you know, I do not have intimacy outside of a committed relationship.
Okay.
Not sitting there and saying, I don't have intimacy with you.
Right.
We need to be this before I'm going to be intimate. You're just setting a boundary around what you deserve and what you need in order to feel comfortable being intimate with someone. And then that way, that person gets to show up. And if they're not the type of person that's like looking for a serious commitment, guess what? They're going to run for the hills. And then you get to thank the universe and God and everything above and say, thank you for letting them out of my life very quickly so that I can meet somebody that will meet me where I'm at, not me having to meet them where they're also having to fight them off constantly because they're making you feel uncomfortable. And you're like, please leave me alone.
Right.
Like that, but you know what I mean?
No, I do. Because I think that there's, for women, there's this, there's this whole complexity around sex and purity and enjoying sex and like what that means. And especially if you've been with the same person since you were in high school or even college, right? And you're recently back out on the dating scene, like navigating some of these, like who am I as a sexual person? Right. And being able to recognize that for yourself, oftentimes outside the confines of what traditional society and culture in the United States tells us we're supposed to be like, and trying to navigate that again, not setting yourself up early on in a relationship for intimacy that you are not going to enjoy for the long haul, because you're going to end up in a situation again, like you deserve to have pleasure. You deserve to feel good in the bedroom, whatever that looks like for you, right? And you deserve to have somebody who respects that and wants to give you pleasure. So if you're feeling pressured in any sort of way because you think that's what you need to do in order to be desired, you're, like you said, you are knocking your own self-worth and your own value. And you're, again, going to set yourself up for big disappointment in the bedroom and outside. And life's too short for that.
Yeah, no. And I love to set my clients up for success.
Yeah.
And the only way to set you up for success is to set those standards and boundaries up front, because otherwise you're going to get into situations. I mean, this is something, there's a lot of, people, this is more on the male-based side, so just keep that in mind, but that have a 3-date rule. Okay. And this is something I find to be really alarming, but it's how our culture has become. And it's unfortunate that men are expecting this, and are being less chivalrous towards women and are expecting more of us to carry all the weight in all the areas. Whereas it used to just be either one or the other, right?
Yeah.
Like either you were you worked and he was at home taking care of the kids, or vice versa. More on the flip side of that, probably.
Yep. But I know what you mean.
Yeah. And so when you get, if you're with a man that has a 3-date rule, guess what? He is going to run for the hills and you're going to be like, cool, bye, because that never would have worked from the first place. Because any person that doesn't respect where you're at, doesn't respect your boundary and your standard, is not the right person for you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So how do people work with you? What does that look like? How, if somebody who's listening today is like, you know what, I really want to work with Lisa, like how do they get in touch with you? How does that all get set up with you?
So there's a couple different ways that I recommend. I do have my email and phone number on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is at feminine.sexy. Okay. And so you can reach me there. My site is called sexyfeminine.com. And how people work with me. So I love to do something, it's like a complimentary consultation. It lasts somewhere between, 60 to 90 minutes.
That's amazing.
It is completely complimentary. It's a courtesy and service I offer to my clients. And let me explain a little bit of the why behind it.
Okay.
One, I believe in building a partnership with my client. We are a team. I am only as successful as how we can work together and really empower each other. And I ask a lot of my clients, I'm going to have you take accountability. I'm going to have you do homework assignments. I am going to, ask you to do the work behind what is wrong so that you can heal yourself and move forward. So I set up that complimentary consultation because one, I want to make sure it's the right fit for both of us. As we're entering into a partnership, just like you would when you're dating, you're choosing me and I am also choosing you, and we are choosing each other because we both know it's the right fit for each other. And so I like to go through in that introductory session, a little bit of, your goals, what you're trying to accomplish, and maybe get a little bit of your background, not too deep. And then I just kind of go over the programs I offer. I do offer 3 main programs.
Okay.
Involving, one's for 4 sessions, one's for 8 sessions, and one's for 12 sessions. So mainly because I know that sometimes when you're newer to getting out there, you may be a little bit more timid, having trouble. You want to just kind of dip your toe in the water. So I like to do that kind of program for that. And it's called Fresh Start to Love. That is the 4-session program.
I love that.
The 8-session program is called Conscious Love. Maybe you've been on dates, you've been dating, you know what you want, but you're not quite attracting that, and you can't figure out why. And that doesn't necessarily mean that like that even is what's going on. You could be more new, but maybe not just wanting to dive all the way in. I like to be a little bit more flexible around these things. Now, my main program is All Love. This is for ladies that are, just ready. They are ready to meet the love of their life. They are ready to dive in, do the work, heal the past patterns, the attachments, what happened from their childhood. They're ready to put it in so that way they can really attract that high value partner very quickly, very effectively, and get that done and be where they want to be. I want to get you there as quickly as possible. I work with women on their profiles. I want them to write it from their own perspective, and then I will tweak it for them because it can't be in my words.
Right.
That's not me. I'm not you on the profile.
Right.
But
right.
I want to be able to set my clients up for success so that I can really, that the profile is written in a way that your partner will respond to, the right person will respond to. I also either help ladies with particular, outfits and getting, setting them up. If they need a photographer, I partner with photographers. If
Great.
they need a makeup artist, I can either help them select makeup because I have an aesthetics background,
Oh,
or I will
cool.
refer someone to them as well. And I also work with, I can help them on all these things too, but just depending on where they're at in the area that they're at. I also partner with wardrobe stylists. So that way, if they are wanting, to up their wardrobe and really make that happen for them, I want to make sure that those things are all possible. Other just little quick things to mention. I do something that's also just an additional program. It's manifesting the person of your dreams.
Oh,
And so I will do a visualization session lasting from like 30 minutes to an hour, depending, where I just prompt you to get into the energy, into the space, into whatever that looks like for you, and be able to kind of show you and put you in that energy. And so that way, when you go home, you just work on that manifestation and you keep thinking about what it is that you want, all the qualities that you want.
I
I
love
think
that.
sometimes we put out there, I know I used to do this, I'm guilty of it. Like, oh, I just want, at one point I was like, I want a man that makes my life easier. Well, I got a man that makes my life easier, but he was completely emotionally unavailable.
Oh.
So he made my life easier, but he was not ready for what I'm ready for.
Right.
So I want you to be able to manifest the partner that has everything that you're looking for. And I walk you through that. The only other thing I really offer, it only goes up to about 4 sessions. I offer an ask me anything. So if
Oh,
you are like in a relationship or with someone and you know that you don't really need, a full session package, I do this only up to 4 sessions, 30 to 45 minutes max per session. But this way you can just go on, ask me questions to help you maybe fine tune some of the little things that are going on in your relationship or with
mm,
yourself. And that way just be able to kind of just really quickly kind of fix those things.
that sounds amazing.
I love it. Obviously, I'm very passionate around what I do. Yeah.
And I know that we really dug into so much of the dating part of what you do on today's episode. So I would love to have you back on to maybe talk a little bit about when people are in a relationship, like how, especially if a relationship seems to have lost its spark or things just seem to be, you all of a sudden seem to be in different places, like some of the work that you do there. So I would definitely love to have you back on to talk about, okay, so now I've met that person, we're in this relationship, here's what's happening now, sort of situation.
I would love to join you again. And this way I also get to join Marissa too.
Yes.
Two is better than
Yes.
one sometimes.
I know.
In this scenario. Not necessarily around love.
No. I mean, for some people that works for them.
Whatever works for you, right? But yes, I would love to come back on and be able to cover that with all those ladies that are in relationships or in marriages and want some, direction in those situations. Thank you so much for that.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you. And for everybody listening, make sure I'm going to link all of Lisa's information in the show notes. So make sure you go and you follow her on Instagram. Make sure you go to her website and take advantage of that 60-minute consult. Like, what an amazing offering that is, Lisa, to, offer that opportunity for folks to see if you're a good fit to work with them. So
yeah, I'm here for you ladies. I really want to be able to help.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you so much. And until next time, friends, hopefully Marissa will be able to join me on the next one. Otherwise, you got me. Bye, everybody.
I'm happy either way. I really, really, really have enjoyed the time together. And thank you so much, ladies, for listening as well.